Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's start with my girl. I want to start with Monique. I want to start with Monique Samuels because she did an interview. And whenever I see like some of my favorite people pop up on these interviews, I just be like, girl, why didn't you text these people and be like, come talk? You know why? Because you know they're not gonna give you the real tea. All of these little sound bites that they give people, it's still not the real tea. So Monique, girl, you know you my girl. I know you out of town right now. Looking all tanned and shit. Mm. You look good, girl. You look good. If you want to ever drop real tea, if you ever want to get into the specifics of the situation, come on down to death row. Come talk to me. When I'm looking, listen, y'all. First of all, can we talk about how he has whoever the artist is? This is great art. Whoever did these pictures back here, this is great artistry. But essentially, anytime you put this group of niggas together, this is not a safe space for women. Girl, this is not a safe space for women. Okay, it doesn't feel that way. So her going on here, and I watched the whole interview, and I have to say, I don't know who this young man is. Larry, I think is his name. I don't know the young man's name, okay? But he has like almost 100,000 followers on YouTube. He has a nice following, you know what I'm saying? But it felt like two divorced people sitting down to have a conversation, and the man is like really expressing how he's never going to be the same, and it's the woman's fault. And I low-key feel like he was trying to get that out of her while she was talking about her situation. And that's why, even though I know she wants to protect Chris, I still feel like, girl, Chris popping out with fucking Sharice was enough for you to give any actual detail that you would like to give about y'all's relationship and y'all's marriage, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Larry is absolutely giving mad about his divorce. Yes, that's what I got from it for the most part. Okay, make sure y'all like the video. Okay, because I know a lot of y'all feel like I don't want to share your video. Okay, well, like it then, bitch, so that people will come. Okay, girl, we about to play this clip and get into it. Okay, y'all ready? Are we ready? Let's go. Hold up, where's the damn sound? Shit.
I had to care even less about what people thought about me because only I knew what was really going on, you know, behind the scenes. And it was a huge test of just like, all right, let's see how much you've grown.
How did that show come about?
So when I left Housewives, there was one of the producers that used to be a part of Housewives franchise who started his own. He approached me with support and came at me.
And see, even that, why you couldn't just say Carlos, Monique? Monique, why you couldn't say Carlos? Like now, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got to be like, she's talking about Carlos, right? Okay, yeah. Why you couldn't just say that?
With some like, you know, we black and, you know, these white shows, they don't show black people in the light that they should be shown in. And, you know, it can be natural drama. It doesn't have to be this scripted drama. And it created a relationship of like, all right, let's see what we can do together. Let's work together. So I believed him when he used the black card, and he did me worse than the white folks. I was like, he could have waited to the second season to trash me.
So you think Love and Marriage DC did you worse than Real Housewives of Potomac?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was worse. It was like, there was no context. There was no reason to all of the fussing and fighting.
Okay. Can I tell y'all what it is? Can I tell y'all what it is that makes it different from Real Housewives of Potomac? It's one thing to have conflict with these women. You can eventually just go home. Girl, you could beat Candace's ass right quick. And you know, I'm being facetious. She ain't really beat her ass, but Candace was definitely walking away from the fight a little, you know, shifted. I just feel like when it's the women, you can go home. But when it's your husband And people are making it seem as if you are not a good wife to your husband, that you are only with him for money. Like all of those like cliche things that people say about women who are in unhappy marriages with rich men. A lot of people are, and this is just about people with money, period. It's the craziest thing. If you notice on social media, two things happen when it comes to people with money. One thing is you'll notice is that broke people who will never reach that amount of wealth like to impose their image onto the rich person. So they're in the comments defending millionaires and shit like that, even though they don't realize that these people are literally in opposition of you, especially when it comes to like your jobs and labor laws and things of that nature. People that own corporations a lot of the times are looking for a way to save the most money, which is usually shortchanging you, the regular Joe Schmo that works a job. Like, but somehow, some way, you are seeing yourself in the millionaire on social media, so you defend them. The other thing that happens is that if the millionaire has children, if the millionaire has a wife, y'all will always hate the wife and the children because you feel like they have been given money and a certain lifestyle, so they should have no complaints. It was the same thing. Like, I know y'all, can't stand Kim Kardashian, but I noticed that y'all do that with her. Literally has a crazy ass baby daddy. And y'all will act like she can't complain or say anything about it because she's rich. She has nannies. You have no empathy or sympathy for rich women or rich children. Same thing when it comes to the way y'all treated Lil Wayne's daughter. Y'all ribbed the shit out of Reginae to no end. It was annoying to me at some point. She was a brat, yeah, but that's how rich kids are. And I feel like Black kids should be given the space to figure out their bratty rich kid shit, just like the white kids are, allowed to do so. But instead, y'all bullied them. Same thing with the Simmons kids when Aoki came out and talked about how Russell is crazy. Shut up. You got money. What you complaining about? Y'all do that. Okay. So when it comes to Monique, I feel like a lot of people had the feeling that because Monique is married to a man with money, that must mean she's just a leech. She really just married him for the money. Da, 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 da. So that means any complaint she has, you don't care. You feel like she's just, complaining about nothing. She's crying wolf, basically, saying something is wrong when it's really her just trying to create an issue. And she's just trying to see if the grass is greener and all of that shit. And I remember feeling extremely exhausted with y'all during Love and Marriage DC because I just understood it as something that a lot of people go through in their marriages, whether you are rich or not so rich. Okay. A lot of women dedicate themselves to marriage and being a wife in a way that long term is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for you to be doing shit for him all the time, consistently, as if you are some servant. And a lot of women don't want to admit that that's what they're doing. For instance, Bambi. Scrappy is online right now telling y'all how he don't hate Bambi. He just strongly dislikes her. I didn't even listen to the clip because I'm tired of hearing him talk about Bambi. I'm over it. Same thing with Tyrese. I'm not even gonna listen to this shit because in all honesty, I'm tired of hearing y'all niggas complain about the same women who are not with y'all anymore. Move on. And Tyrese, don't have any more children since you don't like taking care of the families you create. He married those women. Those aren't baby mamas. He married those women. Then I feel like emotionally, mentally, and financially abused them. They are in the 2000s so that they can get their freedom. They don't have to stay imprisoned so they can get their freedom. And you're supposed to pay them for the time spent because in actuality, those women were probably in some type of expensive prison. Okay. So a lot of women go through these things in their marriage where they're growing and their partner isn't. And that's one of the things she said. I felt like I'm growing, I'm changing. He's not. Women marry for potential, meaning that we'll marry a man knowing that he's not giving us everything we need, but hoping that we'll grow to that point. Whereas men will marry a woman and want her to stay exactly how she is, no matter how long they've been together. That and it's crazy. It's an improbability that people will never change in a relationship. You're always going to change. You don't have a choice but to change. You don't have a choice. Even when people act like they've stayed the same, they're lying. They're pretending as if they've stayed the same. But over the course of anybody's long-term relationship, there are going to be shifts, changes, growth, evolvement. That's what happens. And so for me, I feel like what we noticed was Monique, Bambi, a lot of women, you were doing too much from the very beginning. From the beginning, you were cooking and cleaning and taking care of things. Jazzy, for instance. Jazzy is the perfect example. You go and talk about how this is $1 million nigga and he put pressure on you as if being with a rich man was supposed to afford you a better lifestyle. But every time we see you, you working, cooking and cleaning and breastfeeding. Slaving is what it looked like. It doesn't look like you're actually living in a lap of luxury. It looks like being with a rich nigga for a lot of black women means proving that you're not with him for his money, even though he used his money to get you, and him having money should be a part of the deal. The fuck is wrong with y'all? I come from a middle class household. So for me, I knew I wasn't going to find somebody that was rich like that. But you know what my criteria was? Educated. Please be college educated. Please have finished high school. Please be able to work a job. Please be able to keep a car, a cell phone, and take care of your shit. That was where I was with it. Among, other things that I needed as far as like emotional support and all of that I noticed a lot of people don't give a fuck about in their relationships. I needed emotional support. Okay. So I was looking for, different things because I also had experience having a father with money. So when you have a parent with money and they use that to control everybody, all you want to do is get with somebody that won't do that to you. So that's why I feel like a lot of times I have a different perspective on these things. And I tell y'all a lot of the time when people have grown up struggling, they have a blind spot. Everybody has a blind spot, but specifically people that might have grew up struggling or envying other people having more, they don't see that people who do have more still have a lot of problems, still have a lot of issues, and money doesn't make you happy. It doesn't. You have to create the happiness, and money makes it better. It absolutely does. But you see a whole bunch of rich people that are fucking miserable. Okay? Women who are in nice houses that want to die. Okay? So for me, it was exhausting when she was on the show and you could see that they're making her out to be the villain in her marriage. And that right there, y'all, as a wife, that shit is it's hurtful. It's extremely hurtful, especially if you're the type of wife that has done so much for your husband, meaning like you have tired yourself out, making sure that he's comfortable, that he has everything he needs, that he doesn't want for anything, making sure you are handling every little thing. So he only has to worry about whatever his job is, whatever his small role in the household is. You make sure everything else is taken care of. And then when you finally get tired of that shit, people turn it around and make it seem like, oh, you only with him for his money. You never loved him. And I remember getting so mad because I'm like, nobody is squeezing out 3 big ass kids for that nigga and they don't love him. Also, I always thought that Chris was a nice looking man, big or not. Like I have a big man. So for me, it's like, girl, what the fuck that got to do with anything? A lot of us like big men. The fuck? Like if you tall, you can be a fat nigga. Let you have a nice face, good teeth, a good personality, and some good money. You think we give a fuck about you being fat? I know y'all see the young girls lining up to be licking the sides of Rick Ross' titties as they slide off his chest. Girl, don't nobody care about that. But y'all swore up and down that lady didn't love her husband for whatever reason. When in all honesty, you really stay as long as you do because you love them. Not because you know what I'm saying? Oh, I want the money. Because Monique was so obviously the type of person that was going to get her own bread. Like she was so like, why would you even get on Real Housewives of Potomac to get $100,000 check if you're not about your own money as well? Why would you come out with an essential oil line? As a black woman comes out with an essential oil line, especially during that time where it's like you couldn't find no black owned essential oil lines. Okay, shout out to Mila Eve. She was doing a lot of shit that showed me she cared about making her own bread. And then she was also working in their household like a type A personality, making sure everything's clean. We would see, like, you might have help, but you saw her in there packing meals and cooking or cleaning up. Same thing with Jazzy. So it's women that are with men with money, but are also constantly in a state of trying to prove their worth to these niggas. And it's not that the men always ask for it. Cam is asking for it. But on some level, I feel like she doesn't even want to admit that her husband might have been doing the same thing to her. They make little comments and shit and make it seem as if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing if you're not always in a maid mattress mule role. Shout out to Erica De Niro, which then makes it stupid for you to be with a man with money if all you gonna do is maid mattress and mule and never be able to sit down and kick your feet up. Yes, Chris's mom was another person that was always, heifer, like mad and jealous about the fact that he was taking care of this woman who was still trying to prove that she wasn't there for the money after having 3 kids and being there for over a decade. Yeah. To me, it feels like you started off the relationship doing way too fucking much, and then it became unreasonable for you to keep up with 3 kids. And then the relationship starts to break apart because you're trying to grow and stretch and he's not. That was it. But the way they villainized her on Love and Marriage DC, y'all see Carlos right here? Yeah. So for me, I feel like that's what, when Carlos is talking about making shows on real, conflict, it's because he knows in the households between men and women, there's always conflict, and he can exploit that fact. And a lot of the times when he exploits the things that men and women go through in relationships, it always makes the women look bad. It makes the women who are thriving to have something for themselves, male included. It makes them look as if they're the bad guy because they have their own aspirations. I remember Carlos used to do a lot of interviews and talking to people, and he would always be saying this same party line about how the women were working and trying to have these careers and neglecting the men. That was something he consistently promoted, even with Martell sitting right next to him, asking Mel that type of question. Do you feel like you were neglecting the man while you were trying to get your career? Do you feel like you're neglecting the man? Because if you're not maid mattressing and muling, you're neglecting a grown ass person. So yeah, I feel like all of his shows, for the most part, are set up to point out 2 things: how misogynistic the men are, but also how much of a villain and how indecisive and how snaky the women are. That's what he does. That's what he does in his shows. And if anybody was paying attention, they would have saw how he did that when it came to Mel on Love and Marriage Huntsville. He consistently does that. Mel is always to blame for everything that goes on that show. I don't care what nobody say. Mel is always to blame. Mel and the Melameters, if something happened, bitch, they did it. Okay. If you want to be mad at somebody about something, be mad at Mel about it. She can take it. She's the strong Black woman. And let's not forget, Carlos and Cam Newton have that in common. Y'all had some strong ass mama, some long suffering, strong ass mama that y'all probably watched be mistreated. And eventually you go from empathizing with your mother to being mad at her for letting it happen, and then turning into the man that abuses your mom in one way or another. It is the craziest thing, but it happens a lot. It happens a lot. And not in a boat game. Girl, it's of no consequence. Okay, it matters not. And I think that's the he asked Nene the same BS. And I bet you if Nene was willing to put her relationship on blast and show how that man that she was dating who was married was embarrassing the shit out of her, I feel like if she was willing to showcase that on television, she probably would have been able to get her a show too. Love and Marriage Atlanta. Okay. And then you have him back on the show after his psychotic behavior. To me, it's all of the things that aren't being said, basically, that isn't being said on these shows. Let me let her finish and then we'll move on.
It was like, it's Love and Marriage, so show the full outlook of what a love and marriage, like show what all of it looks like, right? I have always been very open on camera. Like I like to be as transparent as possible. But if my spouse is not also that way, then if you're not saying anything, they're only going to be showing what I'm saying. So it's very unbalanced. And then it was just like, we got her, dog her ass out. Like, it was like my name was used to gain the audience. And I mean, I felt like I got trashed on that show. They didn't show any of my real moments. They didn't show the moments where I gave more context to what was happening, it was just like me, like, yeah. But I was the one reacting. It was me reacting, but show why I was reacting like that, you know? And it was very unorganized, on camera, off camera. It was a mess. And I left after the first season. I had to kill my ego. I had to care even less about what people thought about me, because only I knew what was really going on, you know, behind the scenes. And it was a huge test of just like, all right, let's see how much you've grown.
How did that show come about?
Okay. So yeah. Context absolutely matters. And I feel like my assessment about what be going on them shows is the same. I also feel like it's a one-trick pony. So at some point, it's no longer entertaining. It's entertaining slightly because some of these things are just triggering no matter what. So for instance, I'm Bell Collecting. If you want to be a member of my channel, okay, you can be a Patreon. You can go to bondyblueshow.com and become a member, or you can become a member here on YouTube. Also, if you go on my Patreon, you can now purchase my last 2 members onlys for $5. Okay, Patreon is now allowing y'all to pay per view on my members only content. So if you don't want to be a full-blown member, but there's a video you really want to see, you can go and pay $5 for it and watch it moving forward. The last 2 and moving forward. Okay, just for some of y'all that don't want to, you know, become a member every month, but y'all might want to see the content ever so often. Okay, so yeah, I like that. That was cute, bitch. Hold up, where are my chimes? Yes. Okay. But I was talking about on Bell Collective how basically the reason why I don't believe anything going on with Letitia and Glendale is because I feel like they've studied the other shows and they've studied social media. On the last episode, Glendale said, "You trying to unalive me?" And this is what lets me know how much he watches online content, right? Because people in real life don't say that. It's only people that are trying to keep from saying, you know, certain trigger words that might get your video demonetized that would stay unalived. Okay. And I've noticed they've been changing their life ever since they came on Bell Collective, but they still have been giving scammer vibes, right? They are studying what gets people going. And what gets people going is misogynistic men and women that are trying to be their own woman and trying to break free of these gender norms that are put on a lot of women. Like, that is triggering because a lot of women are going through that. And also, just in our society, period, right now, a lot of us are fighting to retain the rights that were already bled for when it comes to women's rights. Like, it's very, very triggering in real life to watch women go through these, you know, oh, you the woman and I'm the man and the husband is up here and the wife is down here. Like, all of that shit is triggering for a lot of people because it's what we go through all the time. It's what we see all the time, right? And it's a constant conversation on the internet about men and women. So they're basically regurgitating what they've already seen, and it makes it hard to believe anything that they're doing. Okay, so I don't know what y'all gonna have to do, Bell Collective, but you're not gonna make Latrice and Marie get along, no matter how hard you try. You're not gonna make Willie out to seem like he's a cheater on Akeisha, because she will call him on FaceTime, so y'all will see that my nigga ain't playing with me. Marie is always going to be only showing what she wants to and then somewhat withholding. Okay. They brought Selena on, so Gucci and JJ have to deal with that shit because they were trying very hard to keep Selena off of Bell Collective. So now they have to deal with that. It's all very messy. It's all very messy and disorganized. The intro for Bell Collective looked cheap. Girl, it's a lot of stuff going on over there that I feel like, you know, yeah, it's disorganized. I could see how she could say that. Okay. So shout out to Monique. But, you know, if she ever wants to get into any type of detail, like, you know, if you want to give us any instances, girl, come down to death row. Okay. That's how I feel. All right. Let's move on. We spent long enough on that.